Thank you. First of all, I also speak German. I'm from Südtirol, but we are a firm from Switzerland, and as we operate globally, we actually only speak in English, even amongst German speakers, so I hope it's fine for you. And there we go. I will talk today about the Metaverse, considerations that we have from a venture capital firm perspective. And now, before we get into the topic, let's see if it works. There we go. Let me tell you a bit about who we are, why are we here today, what is it that makes us special. So we're called CVVC, which stands for Crypto Valley Venture Capital. Maybe you heard the term Crypto Valley before. It's a geographical term for Switzerland and Liechtenstein, where we have a high density of crypto firms. To be exact, we have over 1,100 firms registered there, Web3 firms, so quite a big number. And we exist since 2016. We started off as a venture capital with the goal to invest in early stage projects. We position ourselves as chain agnostic, but also as industry agnostic, so we really cover a wide spectrum. But then early on we saw, especially if you're longer in the space, you probably remember 2017 ICO hype, so much money flowing, and then we thought, okay, so how can we differentiate ourselves from other capital in the space? And that's then when cvlabs came in the space. So cvlabs stands again for Crypto Valley Labs, and it is our ecosystem. I will talk a bit more about it later on, but for now, just for you to know, when you see these two logos, that you don't get confused and think, okay, what is it? But in a nutshell, it's one company with two brands. Right, then we also have a few other brands, but this is then more from the ecosystem side, which I will tell then a bit more later. Regarding our investment approach, as I told you, we invest in very early stage projects, so from pre-MVP, MVP stage up to Series A rounds. We prefer around ticket sizes around 300K. So far we did 53 investments, whereas 32 came from our incubator, which is the very early ones, 13 from direct investments, and 8 token investments. So we also have a token investment vehicle. So in terms of reach, we are super global. The blue-colored filled countries is where we have startups from. So you see the States, Brazil, Europe, Africa, Asia. And just in 2022, so we are right now, we don't call it bear market, let's call it a builder's market to be more, let's say, positive for the future. We invested already in 13 projects this year, which is a good number considering we're only halfway through. Cool. Here a quick summary in the industries we invested in. I don't want to go in detail, but you can see it reaches from fintech to real estate to edtech, agri-tech, cybersecurity, etc. And also a few adoption industries that we see. Here we have a quote from one of our board members, Johann Schneider-Ammann. He used to be a Swiss president, or the Swiss president, and now he's on our board. And he's just positively, to summarize it, he's positively influenced by the technology, by the opportunities, but also the work that we do in the space. Here a few industries that we want to highlight. So financial services, of course, and maybe also a quick example what we see there in terms of our startups. There we invest in a data aggregator for impact investments, retail e-commerce. We have a Web3 e-commerce startup, telecommunication, agriculture, food supply, infrastructure, and last but not least, what the topic of today is media and entertainment. Cool. Before we get right into the actual topic, just a few words about cvlabs. So as I told you, it's our ecosystem. And in Web3, what does ecosystem mean? So it has so many meanings, it's overused, nobody understands what it is. Well, we have a clear definition for it, because we believe an ecosystem should be there to support startups, to support builders, and enhance their growth. Therefore, we split it up into co-working, so we want to give the startups a place to work. That's why we have a co-working space in Switzerland, Liechtenstein, South Africa, and now we're opening in Berlin soon. If we do events, we want to give the startups a place to speak, a place to spread the message. We have an incubator, which is actually my role at cvlabs. I run the incubator, and we also do advisory and research. Here a bit more about the incubation program. I'm not sure if we have some students or entrepreneurs here. So if you have a cool idea, anything related to Web3, talk to us. Me, my colleagues Nikolai, who just came in, and Ulrike will be here all day. Happy to discuss potential ideas and synergies. And overall, just to summarize it as well, it's a 10-week program where we bring builders from having their project idea, maybe also have an MVP, and we bring them investor ready to raise their pre-seed round. Okay, now let's, if we jump, not working. There we go. Now let's go into the last part I want to introduce of our company, so don't worry, we'll talk about the Metaverse as well. We do research as well. We do regional research. For example, in Switzerland, we have our top 50 report for the Crypto Valley. It's a snapshot of the entire industry. We're publishing how many employees do we have, how many unicorns, which is exciting, how many market valuation do we have. Similar structure for the African report and also for our global report where we analyze the entire blockchain trends. All right, now let's get into the Metaverse. So you probably had a lot of discussions about the Metaverse today already, or you heard them. So what is it? Does it exist before blockchain? Of course, right? We all know or heard of Second Life back in 2000, which was more or less similar to what we have today in the Metaverse experience. But then is it a video game? It's not. Is there only one Metaverse? Of course not. We know there is plenty. So what is it exactly? And I always like to highlight it with this special quote from Jonathan Lai. He's a general partner for the gaming fund of Andreessen Horowitz, one of the largest VCs in the world. And he says that it's a persistent, infinitely scaling virtual space with its own economy and identity system. So coming back now to the question, why is it now a big thing again when we know in 2000 there was already Second Life and other video games which are sort of doing a similar thing? I choose this quote because there's two words which are super important for me. The one would be own economy and the other one would be identity system. So not just the rebranding of Facebook into Meta gave it a big push, but also the development of all these tokenomics of digital currencies are, in my opinion, one of the key differentiators from Metaverse back in 2000 and Metaverse now. Because if you think a Metaverse is a digital world, right? And a digital world needs digital services, digital infrastructure, and one being, of course, then digital currencies. And that's why it is empowered more and more now. Same goes for identity system, because now with digital identities, self-sovereign identity in the coming, even avatars or people have individual digital presence and can identify them maybe with NFTs or with their own avatars, is again a big push why the Metaverse is again coming more and more. So having a look at, having a look at the layer, so where can you invest in the Metaverse? Because what we see on the surface is mainly in the big news where you see HSBC or some embassy bought land in Sandbox or Decentraland. So this is what makes the headlines. But what are the layers we can invest in? So we like to differentiate into 4 different layers. So the first one would be the content and experience layer. So there we have all the virtual worlds, Sandbox, Decentraland, etc., where you can purchase either land, you can have immersive experiences, etc. The second then would be the platforms where these are created on. The third one would be infrastructure and hardware, because we see that there is as well an involvement of VR, AR, mixed reality, etc. coming in. So there needs to be hardware providers in the backend to produce them, but then also digital infrastructure, which bridges then into the 4th layer, which are the enablers, where we talk about payment monetization, identity, security, but also governance. So these are the different layers. And we, from a VC perspective, we like to go more from a bottom-up approach. So we really like the enablers and infrastructure projects, because considering that investing purely, let's say, in land or NFTs or avatars whatsoever is not really what our investment thesis looks like. That said, I want to have a look at the market opportunity itself. So please keep in mind, these numbers are from McKinsey & Company, and they're very optimistic, I guess, but still beautiful to show, because looking at 2021, we had private equity and VC funding of over 13 billion coming into the space. Now in 2022, we doubled that already after Q1, considering or having an outlook up to 120 billion invested, and again, very optimistic. We can also go up to 5 trillion, what they estimate. But then keep in mind, not only Web3 Metaverse, for example, Epic Games, I'm not sure with the exact number again, but they launched or recently closed a round of hundreds of millions. So also Web2 Metaverse and gaming, etc. goes into these numbers. All right, so now I would like to present 2 of our startups from the Metaverse to give you a bit of an understanding what is out there, what is that we find exciting, right? So the first one is called YOM, Your Open Metaverse. It's a project from the Netherlands, and what they describe, what they're doing is that they want to be a layer zero metaverse. So they want to be able to give experiences, immersive experiences to brands, to the customer in their own website. So they want to integrate it into Web 2. So they're bridging it, but also allowing to create social tokens or in general tokenomics around a specific event. An example, what they're piloting right now with, they work with a Dutch influencer. I'm not sure if I can disclose the name yet, but she's very big in the Netherlands, makeup, etc. And they're building an entire immersive metaverse experience around her brand. More fan engagement, more individualized content, and in general, a great marketing campaign. So this is such things to try to do, and it's going pretty well. And now again, you can see it is really the infrastructure layer providing. It's not just as land where they say, hey, build your virtual booth here and engage with people. The next startup I would like to introduce, it's called Soda World. They are from Johannesburg, South Africa, and they started off as a bunch of music fanatics who were creating shows, Afrobeats, Afrotech. They gathered a community around, and then they realized, hey, so we are in South Africa, but we get a lot of interest from European people, so they are into this music. But will they ever see an artist? Can they travel to South Africa or to Nigeria just for an evening activity? Not possible. So what they thought they could do, they could create digital immersive shows and experiences for fans across the globe. And it goes also vice versa. But if you think, when can you see, I don't know, Rihanna or Eminem or one of those shows, it's difficult, right? But if you create a digital experience together with the artist and allow people to check in through VR, great experience. We tried it out and it's amazing. And in a second step now, again, they also will build an entire tokenomic system around this entire artist and give the fans more power to engage and the artists also more power to really decide what to do with my fans. Because as it is right now, the record labels are taking all the lead in this, the marketing agencies, whatsoever, so the artist doesn't really have that much power in this regard. All right, so now what you can expect from cvlabs, because as I told you, we are getting started now in Berlin. So we are here now since officially half a year, but we didn't launch yet. We are launching actually, having a soft launch on the 15th of September. So sorry, Professor Adama, if I make a bit of ads now for our event, but if you're interested, scan the QR code. It's together with Consensus, Red Alpine, and the Lisk Foundation. It's going to be an event for builders where we try to bring community together and show us first time really in Berlin with our own event. And last but not least, we are finalizing the German report where we really we're still looking for a few partners if you're interested to participate, where we really want to showcase, hey, this is happening in Germany. We want to create a very detailed snapshot of what is happening in the Web3 space here. So if you're interested to learn more, talk to us, reach out to us, and let us know. And on that note, I would say the clicker works. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, ask me, ask my colleagues later on. We are always happy to talk and happy to collaborate in the future.